So The Good Old Times by my favorite artist, Incase.
After the...
Now, I know what I said, that Incase does draw a lot of traps, but this is one of his other works where he doesn't do any trap stuff. Instead, this one's actually really fascinating because it's got a good story, despite being very short. So right off the bat, we start off with this woman who's just doing her daily chores, which would fit the era of 1950s. This is where I give Incase a lot of props, is that this guy actually researches what women would be doing at this time period and what guys were into and what terms they would use. And Incase does this so fucking well in this hentai. Even though it's incredibly short and you don't get to see much, you see enough that you understand who this person is. She's patriotic. She does the cooking. She does the chores, the laundry, the old-fashioned way. This is very good. Now, what kind of tags would you be expecting from this kind of hentai? Like, is it your type of fetish? Well, it deals with threesomes. That's definitely a thing. And it deals with just more or less, you're going to see a lot of x-ray images, which I am notoriously happy to see because I love these x-ray images. But the biggest thing about this is that if you are straight, it may be a little unnerving just how many dicks you're going to be looking at, just down the barrel, just looking at these dicks. It's going to make you feel a little awkward. But besides that, it's pretty damn good. It's really well drawn, and it's just typical Incase. He does really good work, and he adds a lot of extra detail. There are some flaws to it, like one, it's too damn short, but I'm willing to give that a pass because of how much research he clearly put into the thing to show that he knows what 1950s would look like. Like, God, I don't even know if I should call this tag, but it feels like it. It feels like a vintage porn. Like, anyone out there who's watching this video who's already looked at the hentai, you can kind of come back to me and say it in the comments, like, yeah, when I read this hentai comic, I really do feel like I'm looking at an old porn. And you can almost see it that way. That's not actually bad. That's actually really good. It makes you feel like you're watching some woman who's probably old as fuck by this point, but you see it like as if this actually happened, like this old woman fucking these guys. But it's so well done that you really do feel like this is an old hentai. But it's not. It's very recent. That's why I love this comic in general, because a lot of hentai artists either do fantasy, sci-fi, or modern day, but none ever go like 1950s, 1960s. Like, really? Why? Like, it's so easy to do. Incase shows it. Like, he put a lot of side details into the environment, like the type of oven she's using, the type of grease that the guys have, the types of cars they're using. Like, these are really nice vintage things that you would like to see in a 1950s set time period. But there are some interesting things in it, like the fact that the guys do anal and threesomes and all that. That's something that I don't really think was really that popular at that time. I don't know if that's historically accurate, but hey, it's hentai. We're not here to grade its historical accuracies. All we know is that, hey, if fucking Vikings went 5-1 on a woman, well, who am I to say that 1950s didn't go 3-1 on a woman? So there is that. But in looking at Incase's younger works, the good times, the good old times, you can really see how he drew Alfie and other masterpieces that he later draws on later on. Like, the way he draws hair on guys' arms is very reminiscent to exactly the way he does it in Alfie. The way he draws guys in this hentai is actually rather blocky. This is where you can see that his drawing was a little bit earlier, not as refined as it is now. But when he draws like elbows and forearms, they're very straight, very linear. Later on, he corrects this by adding a slight curve, which is more, natural. But you can see it in here where like guys' fingers are like kind of blocky. You feel like this is almost Team Fortress 2 deciding to go with the whole fuck your mom joke too far kind of ordeal. This is exactly how it feels when you look at this, when you see the guys on how like bulky they are. And they're not bulky as in like muscular or fat, they're just bulky as in like they have weird square linear figures to them that's kind of unnerving. Now, of course, how is everything else though? Like the story. Well, there's a few bit of dialogue. There's actually enough dialogue there to understand what's going on. And that's really a good thing. Now, he doesn't bombard you with dialogue, but he gives you enough dialogue for you to understand that, this woman's cheating on her husband. Her husband probably is in the military or some, because she does salute the flag, so that can make you assume that she's patriotic or she does have a soldier as a husband. But besides that, you see later on at the very end, this is kind of spoilers, but you see that she is a loving wife to her husband, but clearly he's probably not packing that sexual desire that she's looking for, which is guys with blue eyes, black hair, much like her actually, and just being these studs and leather and all this stuff. And that could be true to some extent. Like historically, that could be actually the case. Like, here's these stud cool guys and the woman just kind of like invites them over. That kind of ordeal. Now, they don't give ages, so as far as we know, this could be like a MILF fucking a bunch of like teenage dudes. That's kind of one downside to this. But at the same time, there's a few other things. Like, I like the way the artist Incase does this, but like he shows different dick sizes, and that's actually really good. That's very realistic. Like realistically, you're not gonna have one guy who's like average, and then here comes Mr. Godzilla. And that's where Incase does a really good job, is that he shows that there are guys who are slightly longer, but there's nothing special, It's not like, oh, he's longer and monstrously huge. No, he's just longer, that's it. But even then, it's not exaggerated. It's really well done art, because some people who try to draw natural-looking dicks, I would know because I work in the medical field, so I see dicks all the time. But when an artist who's a hentai artist doesn't exaggerate a dick by making it have like the girth of a fucking tire, when they try making it look normal, they end up making it look really small, almost like as if it's a fucking pencil. Incase doesn't do that. Instead, he draws them very realistically. It's like, oof, that's kind of unnerving. Like, God, Incase, women must really love looking at your hentai because it's really realistic. I would love to know. But, I mean, if Incase wants to, we could always do a live stream interview where all of us and all of his patrons just talk, and we just, ask questions, get to know more about the artist, and see how he does this beautiful work. Now, I'm not sucking his dick or anything, because, as I've stated before, I don't like his other works, where it's two girls talking, and all of a sudden, boom, one of them's got a dick. It's like, oh, please, no, Incase, oh, no. But besides that, that's just not my fetish. That's the only thing. But for him, that may be fun to draw. And I'm not going to lie, the way he adds humor into dialogue, it's really funny. Now, Good Old Times, I would say suffers from being too short. And I actually would love to see Incase doing another Good Old Times, but either different people or just a continuation of that woman's story. So we could see why she's cheating on her husband. She's got no real story to her, but that kind of makes you want to learn more about her. Like the way she looks at the guy, you can't tell if they are either in love with each other at the end of the hentai comic or whether she's blushing because she's never been this admired before. Like, fuck, as far as we know, she may be caring to her husband, but her husband, like, totally neglects her. Like, we don't know. But this would be something that would be very interesting to see Incase pull off. And out of all the hentai artists, I have my most faith in Incase to deliver a very good story. He really sets the bar for not only my other hentai reviews, but he sets the bar for what other hentai artists should be aspiring to. Now, I know the biggest one is going to be Shadman. Shadman is a really big hentai figure, especially since he's so open to talk about it. But when it comes to Incase, dude, his story arcs are so fucking good. Like, Alfie, The Good Times, all that stuff, they're really good, really rich in their own stories and their own little tiny hidden details. Really good. And this is something that I want to see more of. In fact, Incase's work is interesting because he does another hentai that I feel like I might review later on, but it's kind of weird to review it because I'm not into it. This isn't my fetish. But one of them is called The Invitation, and if you know what that is, and I already know you like dicks, but essentially it's a guy who goes into a demon world on accident, and that's where it ends. I would love to see that more explored, to see more of it. And this is where I'm going to end the video here, but I'm going to do a little bit more hentai reviews for the next few days and do more live streams because I feel like I've been neglecting the hentai reviews, and the hentai reviews give me the most views. Next to my Warhammer videos, they don't give me as much as these hentai reviews. But if you are curious as to whether or not you should see this hentai and go look at it, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. This is a masterpiece. This thing is so well done. You should definitely go take the 5 minutes out of your fap time to go look at this and just give it a good solid wank. Dude, whew, it is a really good hentai. And it even has Chinese, Ruski, Hispanic language, Espanol. Then they have Francois. They have so many language versions of this. They even had it originally when Incase did this. There was no dialogue, and even then there was enough story for you to understand what's going on. It was so good. But besides that, this is the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time.